It's time for Insert Client's Product Title here. The greatest podcast or media product or insert name of medium on insert name of client's planet. Billing reference 93424.
You're listening to Into Your Head, hosted by Neil, Ireland's version of the Octomom. Except he's a dude. And has cats.
You join me at a tremendously exciting moment. It's Into Your Head, number 606 for Friday. But don't get too excited, especially if you're a new listener, or you're listening with new ears in the hope that you'll have refreshed whatever opinion you've held of this program since you last tried it 300 episodes ago. No, this is not the place to start. This is going to be a subpar episode. I know already. I've only made about 8 minutes of it so far. I've almost ditched it several times. What I did in the end was go for a good long healthy shit, and then had to think about it and thought, no, I'm not going to give up on this episode. I'm only going to tell any prospective new listeners that this is not the place to begin. That's the normal way you do these things anyway. You hear it on the likes of Nobody Likes Onions and all the rest of them. Oh, they'll say, hello, this is a special type of show. It's not for new listeners. We don't have to spend our whole time kowtowing to kindergarten listeners here. If you're new to the show, go listen to the last few episodes. Most of them are perfectly fine. Although the previous one to this, I was drunk, and the one before that, I think I was a little over caffeinated and in a hurry. I'm sure the last few before that were a good place to start, though. But no, for Christ's sake, once you go beyond this announcement, whatever you do, anything, proceed beyond this point at your peril. Consider this to be defence. I'm lost. Turns out there's some sort of electric fence, and if you touch it, you basically die. There's no warning or anything, or maybe there is, I didn't notice. You touch the electric face, and that's it, you're fucking banjaxed. You're up shit creek without a paddle, and if there is a paddle, you better make damn sure it's not the type of paddle that conveys electricity. Or should you? Maybe if you had a paddle that conveyed electricity, you could use it to ground you, touch the ground with it. I'm not sure how electricity works. I never learned much about electricity. My brother did a diploma in electrical engineering at college level. I'm not sure how much he knows about it, but even if he did, he's 3,000 miles away at the moment, and he's in another time zone. If I were to contact him at the moment to ask a question, he'd probably pick up the phone and say, Christ, who's dead? What happened? And I'd say, no, it's fine. I'm just making a podcast. I'm trying to improve it by putting this announcement at the beginning of it, saying something about, and then I got on to the subject of Lost, and I have a question about protecting yourself from those electrocuting pylons there that they have as a security perimeter. I don't know if you've watched. He probably hasn't watched Lost, although he lies about this. I remember once asking him had he seen CSI, and him saying no, and I've a clear memory from 15 or 16 years ago of being in his last bachelor pad, and there being a stack of CSI videotapes there available for, unless he's claiming that someone else owned them. I suppose that's a possibility. But no. If you're a new listener, basically, proceed beyond this point at your peril. In other words, don't proceed. I don't want you to come to peril. I'd rather you didn't. I don't want to be bossing you about issuing orders as to what you may or may not do with your own ears. I would just advise and prefer that you didn't listen to this program if this is your first experience of Into Your Head, because basically it's all like this and worse. You haven't even heard the official beginning of the program yet. I can't even remember what I said. I think I said something about your own Angelica, what's her face, Face, Murder She Wrote. I did something about typing. I do some crap anyway. I was tempted to interrupt myself. In fact, I still might go into that segment which is coming up and interrupted there with myself. Sometimes helps. Anyway, for now, on with the following. You join me at a tremendously exciting moment. It's into your head, number 606 for Friday. And not only that, well, maybe only that. That may well be all she wrote. Angelica, what's her face? Oh, she took out her pen like this, and she went, oh no, open Microsoft Word first. This is a reenactment of what Angela Fletcher, the host of... If you don't mind, I'm going to interrupt myself there. This is the me of the future. Pretty much the same me who introduced you to the show at the beginning with a warning to new listeners. So if you're someone who heard that and was a new listener, then clearly you haven't taken heed of that, or else your curiosity has gotten the better of you, which is completely understandable if you're a human being. As they say, curiosity killed the cat. It never managed to stop Yasser Arafat. There's something along those lines. There's different versions for different regions of the world. They bring out these slogans. I have a new slogan for the show now. I came up with it yesterday. I was sick of these long rigmaroles saying unique comedy podcast from Ireland since 2006. So I just changed it to just different, which indeed it is. It's as different as be damned. It's being a bit too different today, though, for my liking, if you don't mind me saying so. And again, if you're a new listener, please get your arse out of here. Maybe you're listening to this as background noise in your car and your commute, and you're not really listening at all, which I suppose is good. It depends on whether you decide to listen again or you decide to think, oh, I listened to that this morning on the way to work. I didn't think much of it. I think I'll unsubscribe. In which case, I'm not getting a fair trial here, if that's the case. So I hope you give it a try again, but with a different episode. If you're listening without listening in the car, different episode, please. Don't start with this one. That's what you do. If you had started on Faulty Towers, the sitcom, and started at the started right in the middle of the episode where there's the fella hitting Manuel against the car with an axe or something and chopping his head off in the guise of family primetime entertainment comedy television, I can tell you, you'd have a whole different kettle of fish then of a response to what you did have, which was to watch it endlessly for 3 years and then get sick to death of it. I wish they'd take that crap off the television. It's on same with Father Ted, is on every fucking 3 days on the television. They only ever made about 15 episodes of it. I'll just show it over and over and over. Did I ever mention that I went to the first movie I ever went to was in that cinema outside which Father Dougal and Father Ted are seen to be protesting in a fictional scene in Father Ted outside a fictional movie, but it was recorded at that real movie house to which I went for Ghostbusters. Also, I'm related by marriage to Colin Farrell. I've also seen, what else can I name drop on you? I've seen Billy Connolly in the street in Toronto once carrying a heavy bag between two hotels, one of which I was staying in. I've also seen the then WWF wrestling team Earthquake and Typhoon in Amsterdam Airport course, checking in for a USA flight. What else have I seen? I've seen F.W. de Klerk's head. F.W. de Klerk's bald head was the last white president of South America before Nelson Mandela got flown in. So I saw his head being brought on walkabout outside my school in Dublin. What else can I tell you? That's about it. I saw the Minister for Education outside my own home once when I was about 9. Didn't really have much of a meaning to me at the time. I believe she's retired from politics now anyway. What else can I tell you? Oh, that's about it. I thought I had more name dropping than that. But I haven't really planned for today's show. Suffice to say, I just wanted to interrupt myself there because I was talking crap. Anyway, back to the me. I hope this has brightened up the segment a bit. Anyway, back to the me of the past, who's now in the present. We'll say it's the present anyway. To avoid confusion, we'll say the me of the past. As we rejoin him here, he's caught up with the present somehow through the masters of sound engineering. Microsoft. I'm trying to open fucking Microsoft Word here. Doesn't seem to like the fact that I've got Microsoft Live Windows over. I've had Microsoft something writer open at the same time. It's not the same thing though. One's for my blog, and one's for never using for any time ever at all. So let's see if we can get this. Oh, is that it? What's down there? Oh, there it is. I've opened 4 copies of it. That's fine. Murder, she wrote. Let's try that. Murder. I don't write. Do I write the words she wrote? I don't think so. So just murder. Is it murder full stop? Or is it murder ... Or do I just put compromise and put 2 dots? I don't know. Do I put a smiley face like the young people say today? So then I have murder ... smiley face, and one of the eyes conveniently forms pretty much a third eye, a third dot for that ... So it works out quite well. But still, you're left with a mystery. Murder ... something mystery. That's what we're left with. There's a message from Brian Jude. We have a look at this. It's in response to something listener Jerry and myself were. Don't be surprised when you go to your local cafe and stare at the barista saying, "Ah." And that's a reference to the me of the past. In the past, I didn't used to be able to speak. So whenever I came across a stage when I couldn't think of anything to say, or couldn't think how to speak it, I just go, "Ah." And I must admit, I gained somewhat of a reputation for it in the podcasting community. And where has it got me? Tell me that. Where has it got me? 600 and something episodes in, 6 years on the go, and here I am being mocked by the likes of Brian Jude, talking to a third party who's also a fan of the show on a frigging social network. Probably isn't even available in Japan. Japan have their own. Or is it China? They have their own Twitter-style social network. It's all done in code. They have these big squiggly writings that you couldn't even type into your keyboard, even if you wanted to. You'd have to draw them in Microsoft Paint. I drew stuff in Microsoft Paint for many years. In fact, I still do. If you go to the Facebook page of Into Your Head at facebook.com/Into Your Head podcast, you'll find a fine little header there, which I adjusted and updated yesterday. That was made pretty much in Microsoft Word. So if you've anything to where are we? 4 minutes and 4 seconds. Anyway, hello and welcome to the show.
Hello, I'm Neil's newest cat, Bowsy II, and when I'm chewing earphone cables, I listen to Into Your Head until they stop working.
Hello, it's me again. going to have to interrupt this again. I'll put this in between the preceding segment and the future segment. So technically it'll just be an editing choice rather than an interruption. But I've just noticed that because of all the extra bits put in and the interruptions, just now you'll have heard me say hello and welcome to the show, despite being almost halfway through today's episode. If it reaches its proper length, which I'm determined it will, just wanted to point out that had I been at my normal operating self, I would have said hello and welcome to the show probably within the first 6 to 7 minutes at max of the show. And usually if you don't hear hello and welcome to the show within the first few minutes, then it's not that I'm being rude or anything. It's usually just I decided to be cool and not say hello on this occasion and just be one of those let's not say hello, like most novels. And most novels you don't get hello at the beginning of them. You pick up your Stephen King thing, it doesn't say hello, it doesn't say page 1 hello, welcome to this book, it's a narrative, I'm the narrator, my name is here's the thing, I know it does not, I know goodbye on the last page either, even though you can see it coming miles off. You can feel your right hand getting lighter and lighter and your left hand getting heavier and heavier, and you're thinking, I've enjoyed this book these last few weeks, it's going to be sad when the fella says goodbye at the end of it. But no, he doesn't. He just says blah 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 blah, and then that's it. You get an ad for the fella's other books. That's not the way I like to do things usually. So, for those who missed out on me saying hello and welcome to the show during the usual first 6 or 7 minutes, sorry about that. We've had some structural and organisational problems around here with today's episode of the podcast. And frankly, as I said before, it's not one of the better ones. It's one of the more lessy ones, if you get my drift. That's very clever. The more lessy ones. Which would you prefer? Something that was less more-y or more lessy? I suppose it depends on the situation. If you have something that's, you get out a king-size Mars bar and they say, would you like that bigger? Or would you like me to make the smaller ones smaller and sell you 2 in a pack and you can fend for 10 of one of them for your girls? That's what they do now. They replaced all the king-size bars with duos. You get a Mars duo and it's 2 smaller Mars bars in a pack. You pretend you're getting one for you and one for your girlfriend, but everyone knows you're going to cram them down your gullet all in one go. You probably have a sandwich between them or something. Nobody's fooling anybody with these things except maybe the government who make the guidelines. I don't know. Suffice to say, I just wanted to pop my head in. How long's the show now, including this? It's about 24 minutes. I suppose I could pop in the ads here. Doesn't feel worth it. I don't think the content of today's episode warrants advertising. But if on the basis of the usual content of the show which you enjoy on a regular basis, you wish to support the show, please feel free to go to intoyourhead.com/offers. Click on my Amazon links every time you go buy anything on Amazon and all the usual crap. intoyourhead.com/offers. In fact, this will be about halfway through the show when I place it, so that was remarkably good timing on my part. What else was I? Oh yes, do you need glasses? Because a few of my listeners now have got glasses through me, yes. You can buy prescription sunglasses, prescription glasses, contact lenses, all the other crap, all your bifocals, your varifocals, your only slightly focals. You can get them all through goggles for you. That's an ad that you'll find on my website down the right hand side at intoyourhead.com. Click through that ad, order your prescription glasses brought to your house, and I get a generous cut. It doesn't cost you a single. It's just like if you see a man begging in the street and he says, here's a half-hour show I made specially for you, and he gives you a tape of it and he says, says, please pass it on to your friends. I ask for nothing in return except that you go into that optician's over there, because that optician's been very generous to me. He gives me a cut of any business I send his way, because strangely people see opticians shops in the street and they say, oh, there's a beggar being allowed to sit out there, and they imagine, oh, that must be a very kindly optician. He doesn't go kicking people off the street just because they've reached their rock bottom arse. So that's a good choice. So well done to all the opticians out there. It's just I'm trying to send your business to by all means, get your eyes tested. That's a street shop optician. But then say, can I have a printout of my prescription, please? Because I want to buy these through intoyourhead.com/offers. I want to look down the right hand side of the page for the big blurry green goggles for you ad, and I want to order my prescription glasses there, and I'll be doing my bit for everybody. Anyway, on with the show. This is the me of the not too distant future, and frankly, I have to say, I'm not happy with today's episode of Into Your Head. In fact, I'm deeply disappointed. Not too much time left to do anything about it at the moment. Tomorrow being Friday, and this being Thursday, and Friday midnight being the time at which this has to go up. It's approximately 10 hours away. Well, I don't work on this crap at night. I'm incapable of recording at night. It doesn't fit well in my soul. I'm a creature of the day. To put it that way. All of this stuff gets recorded during the day. At the moment, my creative self seems to be stuck on night time. I don't know what's wrong with him. He seems to have decided, I'm going to have a jet lag of the mind, and I'm going to create during the day in the same manner as I would create at night. In other words, craptively. He's creating craptively here. Saying nothing of it. You've done the Jessica Fletcher thing before, and you did it much better last time, I can tell you. He did a whole big rigmarole about her cats, and tell you, this Jessica Fletcher, her segment that he did earlier here, wasn't a patch on any of your recent Jessica Fletcher episodes. In fact, didn't you do a Jessica segment for another network? I think you did. He probably did some Matchstick Cat webcomics around that issue too. Maybe you need to find new stuff. Maybe that's your thing. Maybe you're just preoccupied with something else, or busy, or distracted. All the same thing. That's not something you should have to unveil to your audience. You keep that stuff wrapped up to yourself. The fellow who comes on and does the morning traffic at 5:30 a.m. on the radio, he doesn't come on saying, I'm not really a morning person, I'm a nighttime person, and because I got up this morning at 4, instead of my usual thing of going to bed as soon as I get home and then staying up all evening until this is my night time, and I can imagine this to be my night time, it's not working out tonight, because by the time he says all that, his 30-second stock will be over. They'll be automatically playing a thing that says, today's traffic news is brought to you by Traffic Chews. Give Traffic Chews to your dog. In today's busy life, everyone is bringing their dogs in their car to work and leaving them in the car at work. So give them doggy chews. They last just long enough to keep the dog nourished until lunchtime, but he won't crop it out until you let him out at exactly 1:05, and then he crop it out into a tidy bag, and then he'll get back into the car and you can give him another doggy chew. Now, if you're doing overtime, don't forget to give him a second doggy chew, and be prepared to come out to a mess if you're going to be late. Stick to your schedule. Apart from that, no. Anyway, here's the weather. Look, here it is. We're giving you the weather. Now, I must say, the weather, it's the weather that you're seeing in front of you there is not being provided by us, merely predicted, which I think is far more better. Anyone can create weather. You just need a few wind sound machines and the sort of things they use in filming production companies. It's quite easy to make artificial rain and snow and the like, but to predict it to happen, I think to predict it to happen naturally anyway, I think is a far more beneficial skill, and that's why we bring that to you. We bring you a preview of tomorrow's weather. Tomorrow's weather will start off with a cliffhanger. There'll be a cloud peeking over the horizon there. Whether it'll go the other way or this way, you need to stay listening. We'll tell you all about it during our daytime office crew between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. So stay listening to Crop 104, 104.4 FM, Crop 104, your friend throughout the day, and your, pretty much nothing but reruns at night. Used to have night DJs over here. It was absolutely fantastic. Then they sacked them all and just started doing reruns. A fella comes on at 2 in the morning and says, hello, it's 10:30 a.m. Time for our next segment. And you say to them, it is not 10:30 a.m. This sort of crap is messing up my dreams. This is why I have to listen to podcasts at night now instead of live radio. Live repeats. You can't be listening to live radio because it'll fuck with your brain. That's why you'll never see a live marathon episode of Into Your Head like certain other podcasts do. They'll do live marathon shows. They'll start at 6 in the morning and they'll go for 20 hours, and people will chime in with, they'll say, here's a tip for the next hour if you keep going, and then eventually someone has to take a toilet break and go for food. Usually they go for 20 or 22 hours. It's quite a remarkable thing, but not something you'll be seeing around here in the near future, I can tell you, because there's such a thing as going too far, taking it too far. They learned this with Toblerone. Toblerone's learned this. They said, here's a Toblerone. It's the perfect shape, the triangle. It is indeed. It's the perfect shape of geometry. It's strong, yet you can't bend it in the middle. It holds itself together. Much of architecture is based on the Toblerone. But then Toblerone started messing with it. They started making smaller versions and bigger versions. They started making tubes that had several Toblerones in together, so it turned into more of a what would you call it? Corrugated tube thing. It's not completely round. It's got flat sides, a hexagonal type of cube. And then they didn't. That's just completely messed up with science and science that we don't mess with things that you don't understand. You're a fucking chocolatier, not a frigging architect. So don't go messing with the fucking Toblerones, you cunts. Anyway, on with the show.
Into Your Head.
Consonants are good. Consonants are good. Consonants are good. He's Mr. Consonants are good. No alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises. Boo! No alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises. Boo! That was rather predictable. Therefore not a surprise. Anyway, no alarms and no surprises. No alarms and no surprises. That was better, I suppose. I still don't know how this is an adult concept album. I'm standing on the dark side of the moon, and there's a big wall here. It's not really obstructing anything. The main sights to be seen from here are up in space. I'm looking at the dark side of the moon. There's a huge wall in front of me, but walls on the ground don't really obscure intergalactic telescopy, if we're entirely honest, unless you're trying to see something that's just over at the horizon there, in which case I suppose we'd have to make our stands a bit taller just to get to that. And that's amazing. In fact, the little shitty wall there could block out a whole corner of the universe if we happen to be interested in that. Anyway, this would make a good song for an album. We could say, all in all, you're just another brick in the wall, another brick in the wall, another brick in the wall. I just have to adjust my angle to 99 degrees above straight, and then I can look over the wall and I can look out into outer space and see that comet that's coming straight at us. That'll scare the crap out of me. I'll probably leave the band then because of this comet I see, and spend the rest of my days in a mental institution. Well, at least better than you anyway. How are you? And you say to people, and they'll say, better than you anyway. At that point, you're supposed to punch them. But if you're visiting them in a mental institution, that's considered non de rigueur, wherever the French for non de rigueur is, I don't know. It's not allowed anyway, that's the point. Anyway, did you like my little compilation there? I hope you did. Filled in a couple of minutes. Anyway, the wind blows. Consonants are good. He's Mr. Consonants are good. Consonants are good. Consonants are good. Consonants are good. He's Mr. Consonants are good. Consonants are good. Consonants are good. I suppose if anything is to be salvaged from today's episode, the best thing to do here would be for this, the closing segment, to bring us back to the whole Jessica Fletcher writing thing. So remember rightly, back towards the beginning, before everything went horsewire. I was trying to discuss how Jessica Fletcher sits down and writes her books. Now she's an old-fashioned type of writer. She'd have had a typewriter. I don't have a typewriter, but I do have Microsoft Office Word 2007, which is based loosely on the typewriter. And I do have a wireless printer here, and I have a bug standard ultra white keyboard here, and I have a screen within about 4 centimeters of my nose. So let's see if we can type something here. Here's a sentence I used to use when I was learning to touch type. This is what we find. This is what we find. The hope that springs eternal springs right up your behind. Now that's a quote from the song This Is What We Find by the late great Ian Jury and the Blockheads, although when you look into them further you find out they're not that great, but I happen to be a fan of some of their writings, and that piece of writing got me through my first early stages of battling the art of typing without looking, because apparently typing without looking, doing your work without looking at it is considered an advantage in today's job world. They ask you how many words can you type before you look at what you're typing. I could say, I can type 8 billion words a minute as long as nobody ever wants to look at them. But if you want somebody else to look at them, I think I'm about 55 words a minute. If you add the caveat that other people have to be able to read it, including myself, then I'm afraid that brings down your measurements somewhat. Though who am I to say? I'm competing with people who have the same problem, so why would it be an issue? I suppose we all compete on a level playing pitch. Although when I was a child, I remember they used to go on about level playing pitches. I went to a school called St. Lawrence's from about the age of about 6 to the age of about 8, and for about 2 years there they had 68 bulldozers there creating a playing pitch, and I tell you, it took them at least a year to level their playing pitches. Then they had to grow grass, and by the time that was all done, I was ready to move on to another school. But no, playing pitches don't automatically come leveled. It's not their natural state. Back in the old day, in fact, it's funny you keep mentioning Lost. Didn't they have a game of golf up in the hills? Some of the somebody created a makeshift golf course up in the hills, and that was certainly sure as Christ to hell not on a level playing pitch, and they seem to have done fine with that. Everyone seems very happy at the time. But no. What else was I going to say to you? I forget. And where was I? Oh yes, this was going in at the end, and I was trying to close off with my Jessica Fletcher thoughts. Well, Jessica Fletcher, for an old person who sits at home reading about murders, I see very little cat action in that programme, and I find it suspicious. Jessica Fletcher apparently doesn't have a cat, never did. Let's look this up now. I'm going to check this. I've asked this before now. Of course, controversy on Twitter with about 3 responses. Jessica Fletcher's FELTCH cat. Let's do a search here. Jessica Fletcher, LinkedIn, murder she wrote. No mention of a cat here. Now, I'm well aware that the woman who played that may well have had a cat, but that was a real cat. Unless, of course, this was some show business thing where they say, oh, what's your face? Angelica, whatever your hell her face, Angela Lansbury. We have to keep up your image now as an old person, so where you're going out and about and appearing in front of the paparazzi, you should borrow a cat and bring it with you, which, as far as I'm ashamed, would be appalling. Absolutely appalling. Is it ABC that's responsible? Whoever's responsible, CBS, I think, probably makes the old people stuff. If I remember rightly from my knowledge of American television, Fox makes the cartoons for grown-ups. ABC makes the crap about going up to people's houses and rebuilding them so they'll be 10 times the size and they'll never be able to pay the electricity bill again. CBS makes the Murder, She Wrote and Magner and all these old people's investigation programs. CBS also makes David Letterman. What else do I know? NBC, I don't know what they do. NBC World News Tonight, except it's at 5 o'clock in the fucking morning. They're the ones who did the thing with they kicked out Jay Leno, and then they got Conan O'Brien and the other fella, and then they said, Jay Leno, you're coming back. Conan O'Brien, fuck off. A fella who's on after Conan O'Brien, suddenly we want you. A fella who's on, the fella who's on, the fella who's on after, the fella who's on at 2 in the morning, who nobody ever remembers the name of. What becomes of him? I don't know. Craig Ferguson is all I have to say about all that. Craig Ferguson is the way to go. But I'm editorialising now. I've no right to editorialise on these matters, and I'm getting distracted from the issue here. Jessica Fletcher. Jessica Fletcher's cat. Did we try typing her Angela Lansbury cat? Let's see. Angela Lansbury cat search. Angela Lansbury totally looks like cat exotic cheeseburger. I don't think that'll help. That's some attempt at humour by the Cheeseburger Network, or some contributor thereof. Angela Lansbury for posters. No, very little. It's surprising. I realise I need to search further to find this for sure. I would expect that one of these first results would have had something about a cat if Angela Lansbury had any name for herself as a cat owner. But no, apparently not. Cat on the closest I can get is cat on a hot tin roof, which was some sort of theatrical production or other. But apart from that, no. No. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Let's be clear here, Angela Lansbury is not required by law to own a cat or even like them. I just think it would be appropriate and nice if she did. People play their roles properly in this life, so he didn't have to go double thinking every. This is what George Orwell wanted to worry us about in 1984. He said double think and double speak speech is going to be the thing. You'll have these people pretending to be old ladies, and you'll find out they're not really old ladies at all. They don't even have a cat, which is which should be not a problem in itself, but just a harmless example of what might well come after that. I mean, what next? Where does it go next? That's the question. I believe that children are their future. That's what some woman said once. I believe that children are their future. Teach them well and let them know the way. Well, how can they know the way if they're the future and they've just been born? Presumably they're going backwards in time. So they're the past. Children are our past. And so this is the same thing Professor Stephen Hawking was trying to tell us for years. He said, the world goes through in time, forward from beginning to end, and then it turns about and goes backwards from end to the beginning, and then time starts again. And that other woman, who everyone wrote off as a symbolised pop ditty singer, was trying to tell us the exact same thing. She said, I believe that children are our future. But no, because she's not Professor Stephen Hawking, and because she's not writing a fucking thesis for some up your arse university in Oxfordshire or somewhere. She doesn't get taken seriously. Unless by taken seriously you mean given loads of money and a career in pop music and respect and undying love by people who don't know anything about nuclear physics or time theory or any of that, which I suppose in a way is better than nothing. Anyway, good morning.
Sit, Rhodey, sit. Good cat.